Elsinore Castle is haunted by a ghost. Hamlet's father, the King of Denmark, has recently died. His mother Gertrude has even more recently married his uncle Claudius, and everyone in the kingdom is celebrating except for Hamlet. Hamlet is so sad he says he wishes he were dead. Just then, his best friend Horatio comes and tells him about the ghost. Hamlet goes out on the battlements late that night, and his father's ghost tells him, "I was murdered by your uncle. My soul cannot rest until you revenge my death." Polonius and his family isn't helping the matter very much. Polonius's son Laertes only came back for the wedding, and before returning to France he cautions his sister Ophelia about getting too involved with Hamlet. Polonius goes further and forbids Ophelia to have any contact with Hamlet. About the same time, Hamlet starts behaving like he's mad. Walking around without proper clothing, he scares Ophelia half to death, he talks circles around Polonius, and Claudius decides Hamlet should be spied on more carefully, even though Gertrude suspects he is only grieving his father's loss, and their hasty marriage. At this point, Hamlet contemplates whether his own life is worth continuing, and Ophelia comes to return his gifts. Claudius and Polonius spy on Hamlet and Ophelia's conversation, which is bitter and frustrated, but don't figure out what's making him so upset, so they send in his two school friends, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. They tell Hamlet that a group of traveling players has come to the castle, and that makes Hamlet happier than he's been the whole play so far. Hamlet worries that the ghost may not actually be his father, and he does not want to murder anyone without proof, so he sets up the play as an experiment. The players do a performance in which a happy king and queen's marriage is cut short by an evil relative, and the relative gets the queen and the crown. Claudius breaks off the performance. Hamlet is triumphant, but when he goes to kill Claudius, Hamlet doesn't want to kill him while he's praying, so he visits his mother. While Hamlet is scolding his mother about her marriage and especially her sex life, he notices noises coming from behind the bedroom curtain. He runs to stab who he thinks is Claudius, saying, "A rat! A rat!" only to find he has killed Polonius instead. Hamlet is now considered mad and dangerous, so Claudius sends him with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to go to England with a letter to the English monarch to execute Hamlet. Hamlet reads the letter, changes the instructions so that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are the ones to be executed, and jumps ship. Along the way, he finds Fortinbras leading a massive army to revenge the murder of his father, and Hamlet is inspired by Fortinbras to once again return to Denmark and revenge his father's murder. Ophelia's response to her father's death is not to take revenge, but to go mad. She sings and gives out flowers, with some cutting personal insights, and then drowns. Laertes comes back, in time to mourn for his father, but his sister's insanity and death only strengthens his anger. When Hamlet returns to Denmark and is reunited with Horatio, he makes jokes with a gravedigger and ponders mortality, and then happens upon Ophelia's funeral. Shocked at her death, Hamlet leaps out at Laertes, and the two argue about who loved her most. Claudius is alarmed that Hamlet has returned, and he and Laertes decide to kill Hamlet. They poison the blade of a fencing foil, poison a cup of wine, and then invite Hamlet to fence with Laertes. Hamlet and Horatio have been talking about death, but calmly, without fear, and when the challenge comes, Hamlet accepts it. But nothing goes according to plan. During the fight, the blades get switched, and both Laertes and Hamlet get the poison in their bloodstreams. Gertrude drinks to Hamlet's health, but drinks from the poisoned cup, and by the time she realizes it, it's too late for everyone. Hamlet makes up for all the time he's dawdled by killing Claudius twice, but forgives Laertes, and the two die as friends. Just as Hamlet dies, Who bursts in but Fortinbras, the Norwegian prince? When Fortinbras asks what has happened, a grief-stricken Horatio plays the orator and promises to tell the story of Hamlet.